Great. So what I'm going to do today is something which is extremely important. This got triggered by one of the questions that I had from one of the persons in the organization about a system that we were doing. And I realized that I have been explaining these different points to a lot of our colleagues at different points. But I thought, okay, I'll make a video about this. Mm, This um, this video is going to be in three parts. All right, so I'm calling this video "How to Grow at GRS." How to grow at GRS. So this is part one of the video. Maybe I should have called this "How to Grow in Life" because whatever I'm going to tell you is, irrespective of which, if you work in GRS or not, this is what you will apply. Great. So the first part of it is called, it doesn't matter what's it called. So now what I want to ask you is, as a manager, right, as a manager or a supervisor, what are the kinds of work that you do? Right? What are the kinds of work that you do in the day to day, what are the kinds of work that you do? Now you will see that most of your work that you do in a day is the first one is you do follow-ups, you do coordination, or you do documentation, right? So follow up means that you call up people or you call up your team, you ask them, or you meet them in person and ask them, whichever way, you ask them saying, is this work done? Is this job done? Have you completed this? All of that comes under follow up. Then comes coordination. Coordination means okay, coordinating between multiple people, something has to be done, so you have to talk to various people and get it done, or various. You, of course, you will understand what is coordination. Then comes documentation. Documentation means generating a report, creating a presentation, or creating whatever. Any, of course, documentation is also something that you understand. So this first category comes under something called as FCD, right? So there is another category of work that managers do. The other category of work that managers do is, first one is planning and decision making, right? So that's one category. The other one is problem solving. The next one is profit making for organization, making for organization. And the last one is personal growth, right? So this is the second category of works that a manager does. So that is the reason why the title of this video is FCD versus 4P. Okay, so now 4P under the first one is planning and decision making. uh, a manager is involved in planning various things, deciding on things, deciding and taking decisions. The second one is problem solving. There are a lot of problems which come, and you solve these problems. The third one is profit making for the organization, and the fourth one is personal growth. Profit making for the organization is very clear. Either it can be in the form of uh, saving on costs, or it can be in the form of adding revenues to the organization. The last one is personal growth. Now, the most important question that I want you to answer is, where do you think top management, right? So, where do you think top management spends time? Do you think they spend time on FCD, or do you think they spend time on 4P? Right. So the obvious answer is the top management spends time on 4P. Now, so FCD is generally done by more junior people in the organization. And one way to make sure that you're growing is that you start doing 4P. Mm, right. So now, even in this, right, today, if you see, many of you might not be doing 4P at all, right? You might be doing only FCD. All day you're doing just FCD because you didn't know a concept like this at all. Right. So now there might be people who are, and also this 4Ps are in the correct order. You first do planning and decision making. When your planning and decision making skills are better, then you start doing problem solving. Then only then will you start thinking about profit making for the organization. And then all of these three together give you personal growth. Right. So all of these three together give you personal growth. Now, profit making for the organization, most of you will not even be thinking about it because now this has been left only to the top of the top management, right? But the guy who starts thinking about profit making for the organization will automatically start moving up in management, right? So now let me ask you one thing. Who do you think your growth is dependent upon, right? So your growth is dependent upon who? Unfortunately, most people think that their growth is dependent on their team or their boss or something outside of themselves, right? They don't realize that their growth is dependent solely on them. And they specifically don't realize that their growth is dependent on their mastering of the skills of 4P. That they're when they become really good at planning and decision making, problem solving, and profit making for the organization, then nobody can stop personal growth from happening. Right. So now you know all of this, and now you also know that you're spending a major chunk of your time on FCD. Right, sir. Dinapurti, I am doing FCD. What do? I have so much to do. Now you have to understand that FCD is urgent work. You have to do follow up, you have to do coordination, you have to do documentation. There is no choice. It is urgent work. But 4P is important work. Now that I have said these two things, you will start thinking, oh, how do I go from FCD to 4P? What do I do? And if you realize that FCD is, reducing FCD and doing 4Ps is so important, why are you already not doing it? Right? Why is it that you're not already doing it? That's a very important question, right? So actually, I have one good news for you. Maybe two good news. Maybe I'll give you three good news, right? So the first good news for you is, right, so let me write good news in blue. Good news one is 4P, specifically 4P. Let's talk about specifics. Let's talk about planning, uh, planning and the decision making, and let's talk about problem solving, right? As I said, these are the most important skills to grow in any organization: planning and decision making and problem solving. You will see that the guys who are at the top of the organization are extremely good at planning and decision making and are extremely good at problem solving. Most people think that they got there, they went to the top of the organization, and then their problem solving and then their planning and decision making skills improved. Contrary to that, because their planning and decision making skills was good and because their problem solving was good, they moved up in the organization. You will have certain people to whom any problem comes, they will solve it. Right. So are you ready for good news number one? Good news number one is these two skills can be learned. Can be learned. Right. These are skills just like, cycling. Now, cycling is a skill. It is like a skill. First day you start riding it, then you fall, and then you start, uh, you know, uh, second day you ride, then you might become little better. By the 10th day, you're very good at cycling. Now, after 10 years, let us say you're physically fit and somebody gives you a cycle, then you can directly, even if you've not ridden a cycle for 5 years, you can directly sit on a cycle, and within half an hour you can again start cycling again, right? So cycling is a skill, and these two are also skills. Now the thing with the skill is, initially you are very bad at it, then you go through some struggles, and then you become good at it. Then again you might go through some struggles, then you will become excellent at it. Now for good news number two. Good news two, right? Now I told you that planning and decision making and problem solving can be learned, right? And it is like cycling. Now the question that I have for you is, let us say in your life, nobody gave you a cycle. Would you be able to learn how to cycle? Never, right? So if you were in an organization which did not value planning and decision making and problem solving, you would never be able to improve it, and you would never be able to learn. So the good news number two for you is that um good news number two for you is that I value these things, right? As a head of the organization, I value planning and decision making and problem solving. And that is the reason why I allow you to take these decisions, and I allow you to do problem solving. Otherwise, in most cases, people solve, if any problem comes, somebody gives an answer, and then your opportunity for growth is lost. Right. So, point number one is that you know that it is like a skill. You know that it is a skill. Point number two, you have the freedom to express the skill and start planning and decision making, start problem solving. Initially, as I said, you will be bad at it. Lastly, good news number three. Right, good news number three. Now, you tell me saying, sir, you say that we should not do FCD. Now, I don't have any time in my day. I do FCD all day. Now, where do I have time for 4P? Now, if you have seen in the last, let's say 1 year, all the work that I have done or Bala has done or the MDO team has done, all our work has been to reduce your FCD. Every time we created a new system, our autopilot system, every time we created a new autopilot system, we reduced your follow-ups, we reduced your coordination, and we reduced your documentation. Every time we created a new checklist, let's say for the ticketing team, when we created a new checklist, we reduced the follow-up that Arjun has to do. Every time we created the delegation sheet where you can delegate to other people, we reduced your follow-up with those people, right? Every time we created, let's say, a purchase system, then what happened was the purchases now started moving very fast, very quickly, smoothly. They started moving, and you did not have to call up and ask saying, where is my order? Why is it not coming? Is it going to be delayed? What is happening? Because the system took care of it, right? So the autopilot system and the entire team of PCs are sitting and making sure that your FCD is reducing. Now, once the system came in, documentation will automatically start getting generated from these systems. So overall, your FCD is reducing. So these are the three good news for you. Now, there is a very important question. You will be like, how do you explain to me about, you explain to us about FCD? Let me go back to black. You explained, oops, you explained to us about FCD versus 4P, and you are saying, sir, we are fully convinced, right? FCD means follow up, coordination, and documentation. 4P means planning and decision making, problem solving, profit making for the organization, and personal growth. So from today onwards, I will do only 4P. Now, unfortunately, that is not possible because you don't, first of all, you don't know how to do 4P. Second, it's a skill which needs to be learned over time. Third, of course, we have urgent things in our life. Tomorrow, when a customer is standing in front of the ticket counter, you cannot tell them saying, no, no, I won't do FCD, I will do only 4P. It is not possible. Today, your team is not equipped. The people around you are not equipped to support you with this. But as systems improve, as the team matures, the idea is that the guys in the organization will start, all the managers, at least the top managers in the organization, will start moving towards 4P. That is the idea. Now you're asking me, okay, I'm very interested in this. How can I apply this in my life? This concept is very nice. Whatever is the concept that you said about FCD versus 4P, it is very nice. But how do I apply this in my life is a very important question. And for this, I will record another video. All right. So the next video is going to be extremely interesting. This next video is a game changer, right? It is going to help you not only grow, but it is going to help you make your team grow as well, right? And make the people in your team grow, and that will be the greatest gift ever. So let me connect with you guys in the next video. Thank you very much for listening.